Science proves that meditation works, but for most people, it's incredibly hard. Watch this video to make it easy. So we've been getting a lot of questions about sensory meditation, and it's an exciting topic because it's allowed me for the first time ever to actually make meditation a habit. And if I go back a few years, I've tried to meditate off and on for decades, and I have friends that have tried, unsuccessfully for decades also. And I think it's one of these things that the average person thinks is a little out there.
For sure. Yeah, like it's a bit abstract.
Yeah, it's fringe a little bit. And it's like, do I really need to meditate? They understand what working out or what eating right is going to do for them. They don't understand what meditation can do for the brain. It's crazy.
Okay, I sat there with my eyes closed. So what,
Yeah, and then so Kelly and I actually went and got taught how to do Transcendental Meditation, which has been popular the last 50, 60 years. And this is where you're basically taught by a guide, and typically you pay for this advice, and you go through, so ours was 3 weeks of training.
Okay.
And it basically helped us center around a mantra, right? And actually go deep into meditation. And the recommendation was 2 20-minute sessions a day. And we did that pretty consistently for a few weeks. And then we just you only do one a day, and then you sort of miss a day. And it wasn't the easiest thing for us to latch onto.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that a lot. There's a lot of people who they either aren't sure if they're doing it right, or they don't really get the point of why I'm doing it. What's the benefit? Like I said, okay, I sat there for 5 minutes with my eyes closed, so what? And when you're working out your body, you can see physical results, see progress in the mirror. But with the mind, it's a little more abstract. I don't have access to your mind, right? Like I can't jump in your head and see if you're doing it right. It's kind of, you got to figure it out for yourself. So you said that years ago you learned some TM, Transcendental Meditation. Right. How'd you pick TM? Why that kind of meditation? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think, just reading a lot about meditation, I made a commitment to meditate.
Yeah, okay.
Again, I struggled for years, and I made a commitment to many successful people in different industries had a meditation practice. And
they talk about how beneficial it is. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, man, I need to, if I want to get more clarity on the important things in life, I think I should take this step. So that's why we picked TM. We did a lot of research, and TM, there's different apps like the Headspace app, a great app. There's Hallow, a great app. There's different apps that I've tried, and those, I think, guided meditations still work to a certain point. I think they help people get going.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to use those long term forever.
Yep.
And TM seemed like that long term forever solution.
Yeah. I've tried TM as well. I also found it challenging, just because again it's abstract. You've got a mantra. It's not an English word, so it just feels kind of strange and a bit woo-woo. And I tend to be very interested in the science and that sort of approach and what's actually happening in the brain.
So what is happening? Explain what's happening during meditation.
Yeah, so I kind of did a deep dive on meditation a few years ago and got pretty serious about it and established a practice. And specifically the kind of meditation I spent most of my time doing was mindfulness, which is become pretty popular over the last 10 years. I just think it's more understandable. It's more accessible for people. But basically what's happening, so the brain has what's called the default mode network, which basically means when you are not engaged in problem solving or caught up in some activity, you're just sitting. Your sort of default state, the default mode of the brain is rumination and worry, thinking about the future, thinking about the past, reinforcing who I am. I'm such and such a person with such a name, and I'm important for these reasons, and I fill these roles, and the story that you're telling yourself about who you are and what you're doing. That's the default mode of the brain, is this kind of ruminating thought. But during meditation, when you're able to focus your attention on some particular sensation, could commonly the breath in mindfulness, but it could be just about anything, and we'll get to that in a minute. That basically quiets the default mode network. So like that voice in your brain, the talking to yourself that seems to never stop, for me, seems to never stop. I tell people I have a noisy brain, like it's just noisy in here.
But that's not you.
No, that's not me.
I think like Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul, incredible book.
Yeah.
Right, about so great deal about meditation. He talks about how that little voice in your head is not you. The fact that you can hear that voice means it is not you. Like we always think that voice is our alter ego, like Freud talks about the id, the ego, the super ego. And I think the front of the brain, the amygdala, the frontal lobe, that wants to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And essentially that's what that voice is built around.
I'm hungry. I want to go here. I want to do this.
You can't do that. Are you crazy? Who do you think you are? Right.
And so what ends up happening during meditation as you fix your attention on some other sensation is you have this, it's one thing for Greg to like tell you here that you're not your thoughts, but you have the experience of thoughts arising and passing away the same way every other sensation you ever have had arises and passes away.
One of the most incredible things you've ever said about meditation is it's the time between your thoughts. It's the space between your thoughts. And that is such a cool, like mind-blowing.
That clicked for me. Honestly, this might be the easiest thing you can do to sort of catch a glimpse of what meditation is about. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, Power of Now, very, very famous book, famous speaker. He gives you this little practice where he says, like, right now, just sit there and wait like you're a cat looking at a mouse hole in the door, waiting for the next thought to come out, and you're going to catch it. Just sit there and watch and wait and see what will your next thought be. And as soon as you try to do that, you actually discover some space between thoughts. You're like, well, there's nothing yet. Am I waiting right? Oh, wait, I guess that was the thought. Like it takes a second for that thought to jump in, and you can catch just a glimpse of that space between thoughts that meditators are talking about. So
it's incredible.
Yeah. Where it's become kind of a superpower for me, well, I shouldn't say that, not that I'm some superhero, but where I've come to appreciate meditation and its effects in the same way that working out my body changes my body, meditating regularly changes your mind, and it changes the way you experience your mind. So let's talk for a second to the person who feels like, I just can't meditate right. I don't get the point. I sat there for 5 minutes. It didn't work for me. Okay, I'm going to make it about as simple as it could possibly be made for you. I'll try to demystify what you're doing in meditation, because sometimes people beat themselves up when actually they are doing it right. They just don't realize. So in this kind of mindfulness, all you're doing is picking some sensation, something in your field of awareness. So we all have a field of awareness. That is everything that our brain could possibly pay attention to in any given moment. Now, there's things that are in your field of awareness that you're not currently paying attention to. For example, and you've been feeling this for the last, 10 minutes, but until I mentioned the feeling of your feet on the floor, you probably weren't paying attention to it. It's like, it was there, it didn't just arrive, but now I can switch my attention to it, right? So that's what I'm talking about. You pick some sensation. Maybe it is the feeling of your feet on the floor, or your butt in the chair, or maybe it's the feeling of air moving in and out of your lungs or nostrils, your breath, or maybe it's you're listening to something. You just pick some sensation and you just notice it. You pay attention to it, but you don't do it in some way where you're like straining, really trying to pay attention. Just like notice it. That's all paying attention means. Just watch that thing or listen to that thing. Just feel it. Just feel it. And try to do that for as long as you can. And what you'll find is that after most people, like for me, when I first started, 3 breaths in, I'm lost in thought. I'm like daydreaming about something, and I've forgotten that I was supposed to be paying attention to my breath. And eventually, maybe I get lost in thought for 2 minutes, maybe my timer goes off, and then I remember, oh crap, I was supposed to be meditating. Those times get shorter and shorter the more you do it. But that moment, eventually you'll realize, I've been lost in thought. Hang on, I was supposed to be meditating. And it's almost like a waking up. It's almost like a coming to your senses and realizing, oh wait, no, here I am. I'm in this chair. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be meditating. I'm not off doing whatever I was just daydreaming about. And that moment, that waking up moment, that is the successful moment in meditation, because you are returning to reality. You are leaving the realm of fantasy where you've been thinking about the past or future, and you're coming back to what actually is here and now. And so that little waking up moment, although you might be tempted to beat yourself up and think like, oh, I'm no good at this, I forgot again. Like, no, don't do that. Celebrate it. That's the win. And you want to have that start to happen spontaneously throughout your day, throughout your life. So not just when you're on the cushion meditating, but maybe you're in a discussion with your spouse and they say something that triggers you, and you start thinking of all the things they've ever done that have triggered you, and you're starting to get worked up and angry. And then you have a coming to moment and you realize, oh, hang on, that's all just noise in my brain. I'm just remembering the past. Then you can return to the present and be like, I noticed that anger is present, but instead of being caught up in it, it gives you power over it. You kind of have some distance from the intensity of your emotions a little bit. And so That's kind of the benefit that you get from this sort of mindfulness. In the same way, training your muscles over time makes your muscles bigger, stronger. Training your mind, training your attention will make your attention stronger as well. It'll give you more autonomy.
Yeah, I experienced almost that exact thing after the TM course. We took a vacation.
Yeah.
So my wife, Kelly, and I went to Mexico. And every morning we get up early, walk down the beach, walk to this little dock overlooking the ocean, watch the sunrise. And I couldn't help but it was like the perfect environment to meditate, just to get lost in the present, I should say.
That's a great way to say it, dude.
Yeah, get lost in the present.
Yep.
And I realized something that, we were sitting there with our eyes open, quiet, both looking at the waves coming in. And I caught myself in the meditative state. I just went through TM, and so I sort of know what that feels like. And I'm like, wait, that's not TM.
I wasn't using my mantra.
I wasn't focusing on anything.
Yeah.
I was focusing on nothing.
Yeah.
Except when my eyes were, so, it was a sensory form of like sensory meditation. And then I'm like, okay, I said to Kelly, like, let's close our eyes. Let's focus on the sound of the ocean, the sounds. So we did that for a minute or two. And when you close your eyes and you're just listening, the same thing, you sort of get lost in the present. And then, it's not the sound. What about the smell? What about the taste? What about the mist of the waves coming up and hitting our feet? And we cycled through all 5 senses. And, to me, I looked at it immediately as like this form of sensory meditation. So, when I got home back to Ohio, I start to Google sensory meditation. There's nothing written about it. It doesn't exist technically. So hopefully we can help bring sensory meditation to life, because I think it's just this incredible way for the real person, the normal person, to get lost in the present, to achieve that sense, that feeling of meditation, and the benefit, right? And the benefit is extensive. The benefit isn't necessarily like right now bringing your heart rate down, although it does. Right? So like physiological stress, and if throughout the day you're in a high pressure environment, take 10 minutes, take 15 minutes, shut your door, breathe right, and meditate. And when I got back home, the senses that work for me is breathing, is sound, and is touch. I haven't had a ton of success visually meditating.
Yeah, it's tricky.
I think Gwyneth Paltrow is actually, she's starting a company that
Eyes Open?
Eyes Open or something like that, which is crazy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I think for me, just like you said, like sitting in a chair and just immediately feeling that the chair is touching my butt, my back, my legs, my arms, my hands, and just getting lost in the present there for a second. And how long should we do it? I mean, TM teaches like 20 minutes, and Hallow and Headspace, it's, I think, 10 to 20 minutes. If you're getting good at it, it could be 20 minutes, a half hour. Yeah. But I don't think meditating for an hour makes sense. So I think it's at 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. If you're brand new, it's probably 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
I think like to get a taste of what we're talking about, if you're brand new, 5 minutes is probably enough for you to experience that getting lost in thought and returning to the present. But like you're saying, if you want to build a habit out of this, I found like 20 minutes is a pretty sweet spot, because it takes a while. Like maybe a good analogy is if your if your mind is like a glass of dirty water that's been shaken up and you set it there, it needs time to settle. It needs time for all the noise to kind of settle and the water to become clear. Well, the Buddha came up with it, not me, so I can't take credit. Yeah. But it takes time for the mind to settle. And like you're saying, I think there are a few benefits. Yes, in the moment, it can be used to like lower heart rate, reduce stress. I've definitely used it as a coping mechanism. If I'm feeling overwhelmed or something, that's a cue for me to like, hey, you need to return to the present. You're caught up in some storyline. You need to meditate a bit. Then there's the ripple effects that I was talking about of it sort of bleeding into your day. But maybe a third one, and this is maybe the most important for me, is it produces a gratitude for being. When I meditate, it causes me to recognize and be grateful for life itself. Like you say all the time, the meaning of life is that there's meaning in life, in living. And I maybe never feel that more strongly than when I'm meditating. This might be Eckhart Tolle as well. Someone gave me this exercise to do. Maybe it was Sam Harris. You were saying you can feel the chair and the floor. If you just hold your hand out and don't look at it, how do you know that you have a hand? And there is a sense there. You can feel it. There's like a field of energy that I can feel over there that is just what it's like to be. It's what it's like to have a body. It's what it's like to have a hand. And for me, at least, produces just an immense gratitude. Like I really do view life itself as a gift. The fact that we're here. The fact that we're here at all, the lights are on, we're having this conversation. Like, it's a miracle, man. It's an absolute miracle.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, for me, I think I was always one of those people that thought they couldn't do it. They couldn't, like my brain wasn't wired for meditation. I wasn't one of those people. And the beauty, what I found to be so impactful and so important to me is, anyone can do this. You just have to move from interest to commitment. I made a commitment to make meditation a part of my life. And it's paying off, both in the present and in the future with these ideas and the thoughts and just helping me again be grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your experience with meditation? Let us know in the comments. Maybe give sensory meditation a try if you are, like Greg, someone who feels like, I'm just not a meditation person, it doesn't work for me. You can be. Give sensory meditation a try. Make sure that you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. We'll see you next time.